right, everybody, it is 6:32. We're going to get started a little late and do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, so we have a few things to get through today, guys, and there's enough people in here that it does make it hard for people to hear if anyone's chatting. So try to keep the side chatter to a minimum. We're going to start with two public hearings. The first is on the fireworks law. We actually voted on it last meeting, but Peg was out and we missed some procedural steps, so we have to redo it. If anyone has any questions about it or wants to give us their opinion on fireworks, now is the time for firework comments. And just to let everyone know, we're basically mirroring the state's law. We're not changing anything except requiring people who put in a permit to tell our fire department 30 days in advance so that they have a chance to review the safety of the location. Anybody on Zoom chiming in? You're muted if you are. Cool. Hearing nothing, we'll close that public hearing and move on to the public hearing on the 2026-2027 proposed budgets. The budget's in front of you guys. The only changes, do you want to tell them about the rec change?
Yes, the only change that I made was the 12,000 on the joint list. We're already going to spend the 12,000 now this year, so I've just reduced that amount. And then I just want to mention that the amount that we're going to raise in taxes is going to be 532,644 for this year. And we are still under the tax cap rate of about 18,000. So we don't need a public hearing because we're not going over what we are going to elect. So, and our tax base rate is going to stay the same. Last year it's still going to be 2.8%. So we haven't increased that.
Yeah, I see some ears perked up. We use the word raise and taxes in the same sentence. That's the amount we bring in is the number she said before. We're not changing the rate at all. And then the only other modification on the document in front of you guys will be moving potentially the dank into personnel. Assuming that everyone here agrees, Lynn has talked to some folks and wants to look at hiring an internal water operator. Dank's raising their prices. It's already over 110. We should see some savings, and then also that person can assist with other work when there isn't dank related or water and sewer related work for them. So that number is not changing. It's just moving from the contract line to the personnel line. If in a month or two's time, we find that we don't like any of the candidates or we don't get any qualified ones, then we can do a budget transfer back and go back to dank. Okay. Any questions from anybody about the 2026-2027 budget in the room or on Zoom?
Page 9,
Okay.
page 9,
Yep.
third item down, meters. Why is the budget almost doubling?
Meters?
Yes.
Our meters are
40.
at the end of their life and we're doing significant replacements of them. So we have to buy water meters now. Lynn, do we bill people for meter replacements or only the first meter? Yeah. So if your meter dies because it's 10 years old, I think they had a 10-year lifespan. Most of them are at or above that. So we are in the process of replacing them as they die. So once in a 10-year expense. Or, rolling, but this is the time of the cycle where we spend the most. So. Any other question? We have a hand in the back. Mark?
Comments too?
Sure.
Mark Basilia, 111 North Broad Street. Just want to make a couple of points on the budget. First of all, what you guys do, I know it's difficult to manage village. And I've been there myself. But I am concerned about the increase in board compensation, specifically you know, the 40% raise for trustees, 17% raise for the mayor. You look at the regional outlier one, Harbor has the highest reward in Jefferson County.
No, we don't.
Even more than Carthage, which has double the population. We're gonna allocate around 42,000 for the board. Carthage authorizes $28,000, and they have much more to manage in that area. So I get concerned, just as someone looking in, that we are so far away. I remember the days when we were so far under everybody else. We've caught up. But I think right now, we'll probably shoot and be a huge outlier. The per resident cost in Carthage is $8.75 that residents pay per. In Sackett's Harbor, if this budget goes through, it'll be $31 per resident pay for the board. Again, I appreciate the board, but we've got to be careful about where we are as a village. We have, and just with the last point, we have to rely on $360,000 in unexpended fund balance just to make sure that we're balanced and we have a tax rate that's flat at $2.80. Commendable to the board, by the way, but we have to dip into our unexpended balance. We're doing it lower. We're doing better. The board is doing a lot better. But again, when you still have to use unexpended savings, you know, it's really hard to digest huge increases for the board. So that's really my point. Hey, lead by example tonight and reconsider those salary increases, bring the compensation back in line with our peer municipalities. Lord knows we get picked on enough here sometimes in the press, so I'm hoping that the board is will consider that. Thanks.
Thanks. Anybody else?
I would second that. Sue Smith, 216 East Main Street, Sackett's Harbor. What's the rationale with increasing the salary, the percentages that they were increased on the board? And believe me, I respect what you folks do. You did a wonderful job. I got to look at my first budget and it's very interesting. But for 17%, I mean, most of the going rates are like, what, 3%, 5%? And for the trustees, it's 40% increase from this year to next year. And for the mayor, it is 16.7% increase. That's a lot. If the money's there, that's fine, but this has to be sustained every year. And that's,
Can I respond to that?
Yes.
So when we looked at updating our trustee fees, we looked at the planning board, what they were being paid, and they were getting paid more than the village board, as was our heritage area director. He was making more money than the mayor was.
Who sets that?
I mean, the
We all-
board had said it, we just kept going with it. And so for the heritage area director to be making more money than our mayor, we didn't feel like that was,
They did foundations.
Yeah, and
but it still
fundamentally,
technically works for
the
us.
percentage increase, keep in mind, it's of a low number, right? So we're in the low teen thousands. And also we haven't moved them in. I mean, Mark, you were on the board last time we moved them. I think it was my first or second year we moved it
Right.
for the first time in 10 years. And now 4 years later, we're moving it again. So if you amortize how much it's moved over the last 6 years, it's about 2%. Maybe 3.5 for the board and 2.5 for myself. So yeah, normally we it's not something that we bring up every year. But as we look at paying the rest of our staff, they do step up incrementally. And then when we realize things are a little out of sync, we reallocate. So we have in the past done this with our staff as well. A few years back, I think my second or third year, we increased wages on the average by like 7 or 8% because we were under market. And so if you look at only the year where we make a correction, it can look like a large number. But if you amortize it over the last 3 years or 4 years where we made no change, it's not really much. And
If you, may I add, if you look at the county, Jefferson County, and you look at a cross section of all of the villages, in Jefferson County. This is at the very top before you add the increase. So, you're out of sync with the county.
But I don't have the other communities' numbers in front of me. We did review them briefly, but I can't speak to that with any accuracy because I don't have.
I have a copy if you'd like.
I'll
to
take a
see
look.
it. I'm sure it's from the Freedom of Information Act or something.
Sure. Anybody else have any comments? Mike?
Yes, so basically what I just heard is they're getting paid more, so we should too. That's not a good reason. That's not justification. Maybe they don't need to be paid as much. Maybe we should be looking at that. We shouldn't be raising it to match somebody else that's being paid obviously too much. Maybe we need to look at that because this is, we only have 1,385 people here. This is pretty much ridiculous. It is. There's no justification that I see for that. That wasn't justification what I just heard. That's not. That's just they're getting paid more, so we should too. What is that? That's right.
We also looked at the effective hourly rate of what we're doing, and it's a depressing number. It's some months we make minimum wage, some months we don't. And that's obviously part of the job. I don't know, like I said, if you look at a percentage increase on 1 year and don't consider that it has stayed flat for multiple years.
I never thought I'd be agreeing with Mark, but here I am. So, yeah.
Okay. We're here to make bridge relationships, right?
The budget doesn't get passed until, this is the hearing, right? So we can make
Discuss it
changes
later,
to it. So I thank you for your input and we'll go back to the board and talk about that.
Anybody else? Should we move on?
Who passes the budget? Do we, the citizens, vote on it, or is it you guys?
Best budget.
So you get to vote on your own raise. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Someone has to.
Yeah, that should be us, because you work for us. You guys work for us, we're the taxpayers.
You
We should be authorizing any raises you get as the taxpayers, as your employers, because we are your
You're
employers.
here to comment on it.
Commenting,
We've had 4 budget hearings about it, so.
yeah, we the citizens should be voting on that. You guys should not be voting on your own raise. That's ridiculous.
I encourage you to run for state office and change the law.
Anyone else? Stephanie?
This sort of, for me, segues into the discussion of the budget. I downloaded this budget, 3 or 4 days ago.
Yep.
So, how long does the public have to review the budget? For example,
We have multiple public meetings that usually have 1 to 0 people attend that are talked about in these meetings and scheduled. I think we had 3 over the last month.
We started in February.
Typically, nobody comes until this meeting and then they're like, when was I supposed to hear about that? And we say, please remember this next year and come earlier because we welcome inputs. There are some tricky questions as to where to allocate funds and how to predict, I think everyone is feeling insurance costs going up. The village is none different than that. We have, it's a pretty significant portion of our budget. In fact, Belinda has been and Peg have been going through and applying to multiple insurers, which takes a lot of time for them to hopefully bring that rate down. So we definitely are open to input. The final moment, so there is a little less time for you to dig in if you're just getting this now. But I would encourage you to participate earlier in the future if you want.
but this data wasn't available to us.
Correct. So we,
don't know what to ask.
yes.
In review of the budget.
But this is why we have public
Yeah,
hearings.
we-
Those questions
we go
are meant
through
to
line by
be.
line to discuss this in the meeting and then produce this document and then have a hearing and then vote on it. It's a long process, but
I object to 30 minutes to discuss this year's budget when we really aren't prepared. There's so many questions.
I totally understand, but the only way to reconcile that is to come and attend the actual hearings where we talk about the budget in depth. Because we have 3 of them and they're scheduled ahead of time. One of them was at the beginning of our last meeting. And the other 2 are separately scheduled. They're discussed in, I think 2 months ago, we actually, in this meeting, set those times and dates. And it's published on the website, but I agree with you. It's not, this isn't a great format to dive in and go through this because it's a lot for 30 minutes. But at the same time, this public hearing is a required part of the process and we have to do it in a public meeting. that is our normal meeting. And
With all due respect, I think I attended at least one of those meetings.
okay,
And you asked a lot of questions to which we answered.
Yes.
Right.
yes, you did.
Mhm.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
And, but with all due respect, I just don't feel like there was enough information out there until you see this whole budget. I'll just leave it at that and I'll do a better job next
I
year.
will also say there have been relatively few changes to last year, so we didn't do any big sweeping. I mean, the biggest thing we're doing is moving the money from Dank contract to hiring someone directly. But most of the rest of this is small adjustments to keep with cost increases and things.
Thank you.
Stephanie?
Stephanie.
Oh, sorry. you're
48.
She had her
hiding
hand
behind
up,
Lynn.
sorry.
It's just a comment, but considering the meeting at the school just a couple weeks ago, I would just ask to maybe consider the optics of it all. Our school is in serious trouble. A lot of people are struggling right now. This is a public service and I know I don't do it. Thankfully, I can't do it. But I would ask you to think about with National Grid costs increasing, the optics of it all. When you're asking your constituents to pony up more, when our school is going to be asking us to pony up more, National Grid is demanding that we pony up more, our insurances, everything. Just consider the optics and maybe in good faith, reconsider what you are asking of us. I understand that so much of it is fixed, but the raises, it is not a good optic at this time.
I appreciate that point of view and I agree. I don't think we considered that, so I appreciate that.
And that's new
The end-
information from
Yeah,
just a
yeah.
couple weeks
I mean, the
ago.
end line of the budget didn't increase because of those raises, but I understand where you're coming from. So I didn't consider the optics of that, at least. So I appreciate saying it like that, so that we can look at that. As I said, the budget, this is the hearing part, that part can be changed. So I appreciate your input on that. Any other questions on the budget?
What is the trustee and the mayor actual pay rate?
I think if this is adopted, it's like 14.
Current versus projected?
Yep, so it's 12K for mayor last year, 14 now.
A trustee makes $4,000 and the mayor gets 12.
And I think the trustees were moving to what, 6 or 5?
7.
Yeah, I think we were
Oh,
trying.
7 to match, yeah.
Seven. Oh, so we must
went
have
to 5
been
to 7.
4. We must have been
7.
5, sorry. We must have been 5.
Yeah, so 2K each was the increase.
Comment I heard earlier was that the planning board makes more.
No, the chair.
No, the
Yeah.
chair.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, it was the chair.
Somebody's been stealing your checks.
No wonder you're asking for clarification.
All good. So it was,
He wants a raise too.
Which I don't blame him.
we kind of looked at the amount of time and effort put in by Janet, Jim, and this board and thought it's relatively commensurate per person. And at the time, I think Jim was actually the highest, and we decided levelizing things would be reasonable, was where that number came from.
I think, and Craig from Navy Point, I think Craig Parker, I just think that, if it is a public service job, as I do on the planning board, I don't do it for the money. If we're doing it for the money, I think we need to reevaluate what we're doing.
I'm certainly not retiring on the $5,000. I do have a regular day job. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, the intention of these, to my mind, is to make sure that it's available to people. The more, like, when we first discussed pay raise, I think my second year, it was like 6 or something. I don't know what it went from, but I had suggested that we change the law to be after the people on the board leave. And our attorney was like, that's not how you can't do that. Because I thought that would, to my mind, I think the position should pay more to make it more appealing to more people so that more types of people in the village can do the job and justify, instead of getting a second job as a teacher, I'm going to go and do this because people need to make ends meet. But it's not something that we are able to do in like advance of ourselves. So that is part of the problem with the self-raised dealing is if you think the job should be more appealing to more people to be more competitive, right? In theory, it would also be in our favor if we said, let's zero it out. So nobody runs against us because the job's terrible and it pays nothing, right? So you could argue that either one would be in bad faith, but obviously we have to justify our decision to everybody. So we try to make a reasonable one.
Janet?
Just to chip in or chime in on this, personally, I have felt for how many years I've been in the planning board and then as the chair, that it's a public service. And I similarly in my head, being elected is a similar situation. Not, I'm gonna go out and get a job. I'm gonna go see if I can get a job as a planning board chair. And I view our heritage area positions slightly different in that I think that comes from having worked in a community planning office at the county level and state level and privately. Those are positions that are in a role of assisting everybody here doing their job, getting grants, trying to ascertain the correct information to move ahead on something, which is not the same as, entirely the same as being elected or as an appointed in my mind.
I would disagree with that.
I mean, it depends on the amount of work put in, right? Obviously, like
I would disagree.
many of our staff make more than we do
Yes.
because they do more. So it depends on if you look at how much that person is doing, that's what we're trying to.
Dollar for dollar, just, you know, the, like, I think I've heard in the last few years, maybe we should go out and hire a grant writer. But those conversations, well, grant writers are not cheap, and Dave doesn't do only grant writing, he does lots of things. But I'm just saying, there are fine lines, and it's on how you interpret it, but I know from my view, I'm not in it to make money, and, you know.
I will tell anybody, when I got voted, I didn't even know I got paid for this job when I ran. I had no idea. So when I got paid after, I was like, oh, I get a paycheck? I had no clue. So I didn't run for this job thinking I was getting monetary, but now that I've been doing it for 5 years, it is a lot of work. And I don't think that we get recognized for all of the budget meetings and all of the things that we do that maybe some of the public don't realize. So I understand where everyone's coming from. I understand the optics. You know, I hadn't considered that. So I take that to heart. So I'm, you know, again, we'll go back to the board. I'm not saying that I'm against doing that. I think, you know, I thank you that you brought that to our attention because I didn't think of it that way. So. Any other questions on the actual budget part? All right.
All right, anybody on Zoom, if you're talking, no one can hear you, so don't forget to click unmute. All right, I will close the public hearing for the budget. Open our regular meeting and go over the minutes. Any questions on the minutes, guys? Did everybody get a chance to look at them?
Mm-hmm.
I'll make a motion to pass the March 10th, 26 minutes.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, again, guys, there's a lot of people here, so try not to sidebar too much. You can laugh at our jokes, no booing. But we're gonna open up public comment. There's a lot of people. We're gonna keep it to 3 minutes. I got this new fancy timer that Caroline bought for the planning board. I think I know how to work it. So please, if you're making a public comment, stand up, give us your name, and you get 3 minutes on the clock. And we'll start with Zoom just because they want to chime in. Sometimes it takes them a minute. Anybody on Zoom? Okay, and then we'll do in the room.
I just wanted to bring attention to village that the streetlights on Creekside are out. They've been out for a couple of weeks.
Which ones?
All along Creekside Lane.
Okay.
They're all out. They run all the way down to almost the, people's apartments and then down. There are no streetlights at all.
Are those,
PW is making a note of, our supervisor is making a note of it right now.
are those,
Chris, how's the drainage down there? How's the drainage down there?
It's not bothering the lights.
I know. Is it bothering the residents? Oh, check it in the daytime for us and let me know. I know.
Lynn, you don't those are.
Oh,
You know, these are.
do you know what I'm talking about? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, she probably doesn't.
Oh, you've got problems with drainage? I don't.
Yes.
Well, you're on the very end.
Oh, and I don't worry about it.
Okay.
All I know is if you're.
No, for next time, don't ask.
Yes, we got that. We got that. We got that.
I don't know.
Okay.
All right, anybody else?
Yes, I'm Steve Perkins with the 223 East Main Street. What are all the little pink flags all around for? Is that for drainage?
Assume it's a dig safe.
For their pink, pink and yellow?
Pink, I don't know what pink, is that gas?
Those pink ones are for, has nothing to do with the project that we have upcoming.
Different utilities use different flags. So if someone called in a dig safe, basically before you dig in the ground, you have to call 811 and National Grid comes, they mark underground electrical, gas. We will mark water or sewer if requested. So I'm not sure who put those out, to be honest.
The man that was there last week, I asked him what he was doing. He said, well, I've been told to come out and map out water lines.
Okay, it may have been from the sewer and water infrastructure study.
Wetland delineation.
Yeah, well, they're doing that.
Across the road and it's all the way, I guess, down.
So that's what it was?
Route 3.
Yeah, well,
Because
somebody said it was, but yeah, it could be, they're doing that as well.
Common color
I don't know,
that
yeah.
utilities use. Piece it's pink, because pink's not a common color that utilities use. Yeah, blue, green, yellow.
Yeah, they're pink on East Main and they look like wetland delineation.
Okay.
Tied directly to East Main.
Yeah, where we're replacing the sewer and water lines that are yet to be replaced, we did have to do a wetland delineation piece to the study, and that person was supposed to come sometime around now, so it sounds like that might be what it is.
He was there.
So he's checking to see if it qualifies as like a DEC wetland, is
He
likely.
went 100 feet. He said he had to go back 100.
Yeah.
Yeah, then that is yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. A lot of ours are this time of year. All right, next up. Craig?
Right, Parker, Navy Point. I got 2 phone calls this week, and I didn't do any research since the ice left about something somewhere on either a website or the Google search for the village boat ramps is saying that they're closed until further notice. I didn't do any research to see if they are or not. I don't know where he's looking at, but maybe
It might be like the Google listing is seasonal.
it might be.
Oh,
I didn't.
Okay.
but it's saying that our docks are closed?
I meant to follow up and check that, probably with more information, but something out there was saying that it's closed.
Okay. Did you see it yourself or did someone report it to you?
No, someone-
Okay. If I can't find it, then maybe you can give me some ideas of where else it could be, but I'll look. Thanks, Craig. Mike?
Yeah, what the mayor did with Tom Holman regarding Tom Holman is very detrimental to this village. There are a lot of people saying the boycott. Now, you guys know I'm doing a rally for Tom Holman every Wednesday. I'm not part of the boycott. I've actually been telling people not to. Don't take it out on the other businesses. They have nothing to do with it. I've been saying boycott the mayor's businesses only. I'm gonna tell you, just today, I had a couple come in where I work. Older couple, said we come every night, every Wednesday night to Goodfellas, but no longer while he is mayor. And I've been hearing a lot of that from different people where I work and different people around. I've heard other people say they've heard that. It's not so private decision. It's very detrimental to the businesses here in the village. I don't know how bad it's going to impact the village during the summer, but it's obvious it's going to. So just stating the obvious.
Anybody else? Okay, one last call for Zoom in case anybody thought of something. Cool. We will close public comment and move on to the treasurer's report.
Okay, so I've only got my bills that I just want to pass, and then finalize the levy list, and that's going to a total of 94,435.
I'll make a motion to pay the bills.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You need a resolution on the re-levy as well, right?
That looks like it's a roll call.
I'll make a motion to approve the re-levy list.
I'll second.
You're good.
Trustee Maleta.
Aye.
Trustee Johnson.
Aye.
Trustee Mojay.
Aye.
Trustee Minnesota.
Aye.
Trustee Ritz.
Aye.
And we have the budget resolution to approve. We can do amendments. Obviously, we have a couple that we already discussed. Belinda's change. Does anyone have any questions or problems with that one?
Can we clarify that the salary is not necessarily part of that budget path?
Oh, I'm just walking through the changes.
Okay,
Yep.
good.
So the first one, I just want to go through the easy ones first and then we'll
Yep.
do the one.
Okay.
We have the change from this document, which is the
It's only the joint.
The rec committee's
one that I actually
carryover.
used, because we're gonna have the expense in this fiscal year. And then there was no other major changes.
That's it, yeah. So I just wanted to make sure you guys were cool with that, and then the dank one, and then we can discuss the comments made by the public if we want to make any changes, or if anyone else on this board has any last minute things they want to bring up or address. Are we good with Belinda's change?
Mhm.
We good with the dank, moving the funds over and we're kind of doing this out of order because I figure we'll do this, but we also need to formally decide.
One question regarding the dank. So we're maintaining our contract currently until we find a.
We have a couple months left on it. I did make dank aware, Brian Nuttings, I think. After our last meeting that we were discussing it, because he called to ask if we had agreed to sign the contract or not. So I gave him the update. He said he understood. A lot of communities are doing that. It's an expense that is growing. So he knows, and that we can do a short-term contract. It might be more expensive month by month with them in the short term if we need them to work on it while we're in the hiring process. But we have a couple months left on that.
Do we know how many exactly?
I have to check. I think it's June. I think it's fiscal year, tied to our fiscal year.
It's due.
But I'm like 95% sure.
And if that person decides to not apply for it,
Or if nobody
Or
applies,
nobody
or we don't want to
applies,
hire them.
then we can go
sign
back to the contract. So we're not going to go without one.
Right.
Okay.
Is this hire a permanent position?
That's what we're
Yeah.
hoping to,
Yes, okay.
instead
Yeah.
of the contract, have a permanent.
Right now, the current budget this year is 55K from water and 55K for sewer, for a total of 110. And if you look at our bills, most months, we have a 5 to 15% increase on that mark because of overtime and call-ins from Dank. So we're looking at like probably 125 on a 110 fixed cost or a starting cost. Their negotiated agreement starts us at, I think, 120. It walks us up to 135 over the next 5 years. And then you're still going to have that overage as well. So probably looking at closer to 140 to 170 between, next year and 2031. Whereas a single hire who can manage this might run us 80K. I don't know what the prevailing rate is, but it's not going to be 150. And my thought is also, they're not busy a full 40 hours doing what we contract them to do. So we will get the benefit of having somebody on the DPW team that can help do additional work, perhaps train Jared on some of the water stuff so that he can help do coverage at night. So we're not paying overtime to just that one person when we already have somebody on call. So overall, I think it's worth exploring. And if we don't get any good candidates, Lynn has one particular in mind. So I think we're hopeful that we'll at least get one qualified applicant. If we don't, or if he wants 150K and we decide that's silly, and he, we can always fall back to the DENC contract. And again, what we're doing here is just moving that fund so that our budget reflects Plan A. It's not, if we can't find a person, we can do a budget transfer from personnel back out to contractual. We try not to do them too often because it just muddles the whole point of the budget process. But in this case, I think it's more than justified if we think it could save us 30 to 50K a year going forward and provide us an additional pair of hands for when, our relatively small team has one person out sick and there's a snowstorm. It'd be nice to have somebody else who can help with whatever needs doing. So that's that additional change.
Lynn, is this a class 4 level operator?
Yeah, it's high level. Yeah.
I feel like in the end, it's gonna save, I mean, if it saves us
Yeah.
$30,000 to $50,000, why would we say no? Right, so.
We're not open for public discussion on anything besides the public comments.
So do we need a motion to make that change
No,
or?
okay.
Do we need a
I'm
motion?
suggesting that we put this into the changes when we do our final motion.
Yep.
This will be one.
Okay.
So
I
if
agree.
everyone's cool with that, I'm starting with Belinda's change for the rec center. I know I can't.
Joint rec.
Joint rec.
Mhm.
The change for moving the DANK money.
Yep.
And there's nothing else to discuss, so we just have to talk about the payroll.
Yep.
Is there anything else? We'll do that last. Anything else? Anyone has concerns from our board on here? Cool. Okay. I'm fine. I don't, we talked about this. We haven't changed it in years. I don't really care either way. If we want to not do it, that's fine with me.
I'm not particularly feeling strong about it either. I mean, I certainly don't want people walking away thinking that we're trying to but that wasn't the intention. So if it will make people soften a little bit, I'm okay with that. So I would recommend that we keep our rates the way where they are currently and just leave that where they are.
Greg, Sarah, Hope.
I agree.
Fine.
Yeah,
Cool.
that's fine.
All right.
So we'll do that just for our boards. We'll leave the rest of the changes in place.
Yep.
Or for our board. I think we just leave the planning and those as they are, right?
Yes, we increased Janet. I think that needs to stay the same. And what was
Do you want to nix that too? Or just ours?
next what?
Her change.
No, I want to keep her
I would leave her
Okay.
where,
where we put
Okay,
it.
so
Yeah,
the only change to the salary sheet is going to just be
Janet.
keeping our,
Yes, keep ours to the
For the
rate that
2020.
from this year to
So it's gonna be the same rate.
yes,
For the board and for you.
yes,
Ashley.
yes, yes.
Belinda, there's three real changes. You got them all down?
Yes.
Okay. Any other items before we make a motion to approve this? Like,
Go with this first.
Oh, we
did.
forgot that. We did do the
she
re-levy.
jumped ahead and did it, or no, you didn't. You did the bills first, then we did the re-levy, but we can,
She did the roll call and everything.
yeah. You
We did a roll call, Peggy. Okay.
Throw me for a loop, Peg. All right. So anything else?
No.
Good. Hope?
Yep.
Sarah, Greg? Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the adopted budget, approve resolution 3 to adopt the 2026-2027 budget as noted in these documents with the 3 annotated changes that we discussed and the Belinda has down to make.
a second.
And this is also a roll call vote.
Stephen Miller.
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
All right. Belinda, all good? Anything else from you?
All good, that's all from my side, thanks.
All right. Finishing up the treasurer's report. Any questions for Belinda, guys, before we move on to departments? Cool. Lynn, you're up.
I just have a few things to talk about today. First one is being a vet, I'm pretty proud of the red, white, and blue, and I partnered up with the hardware store here to get flags. And Peggy made up this nice little flyer to mail out, put it in a newsletter or whatever to offer to every resident. My desire is to see every house in the whole village, red, white, and blue flag hanging on it. And if somebody has a issue with putting it up, I'm more than happy to stop by and do it for them. I think it would look really smart, being that it is the 250th birthday of this great country. The other thing is I think I mentioned this at the last board meeting. I've been approached about doing a Mikey Vaness memorial down by the gazebo. And I've done a little footwork on that over the past month or so. It's going to cost about $2,000. And there's 3 entities involved with this. The Legion, I'm hoping that the village does it, and his wife Kim want to cover the cost of it. So it'd be a 3-way split at about $2,000.
2,000 each or total?
Yeah.
Okay.
What would it?
I just think it's a great way to remember Mikey. Everybody knew Mikey, for God's sakes. He was a fantastic employee, and quite honest with you, the village didn't do anything for him at his funeral. So I just think I think it would be a good motion.
I don't think that's a fair assessment. We donated for his, we were there.
But going forward, I'd appreciate it.
Is this a plaque or what?
Actually, no, we have a pile of stones over there. I dug out a nice little stone, and they're gonna polish that and put an encryption on it, or an inscription on it. And I'd like to put a flagpole up right behind it.
I think we actually we had something, we talked about this in part of our optional stuff for the budget, right? Talked about it last
I don't
time.
remember. I know we discussed and said that we were supporting it. I just don't remember if it's in there.
Okay.
Other than that, we're kind of in a lull with the weather to getting things done, but we're working on it little by little. We're trying to clean up the winter nonsense with moving forward to spring and trying to get our equipment broke down and ready to go. Other than that, status quo, the village is good. That's all I can say. Can't wait to make it look nice again.
Hopefully, frost stops killing all the buds.
Yeah.
I think I showed you on our open flag, I bought that test, the metal grommet or the little pivots for the flags because our plastic ones keep breaking.
Yeah.
Let me know what you think on the number you're gonna buy, because I have like my contractual stuff, and I'll put in they're like $1 each, but they'll last a lot longer.
Well, with this flag deal, they're getting a flag, a bracket and a pole too.
Well, I just wanna, as we start, they keep breaking, yeah. So I wanna just sync up with you and get a ballpark number, because it's cheaper to buy them together, and it's much nicer, it won't snap. Any other questions for Lynn, guys? Thank you, sir. Is John on Zoom, Peg?
No.
All right, well, we will keep over that. Doesn't look like anything to give a couple tickets or warnings out, so getting into speedy season. Doesn't look like anything out of the ordinary on the police side.
I did talk to him about increasing hours and he's working on staffing for that. So just letting you guys know he is working on that. He had a handful of people that stopped working for us and he needed to get their uniforms so that he can hire some new officers.
Yeah, one of the things that we realized when discussing people's concern with village policing was a fair bit of the time, because almost all of our officers are part-time sheriffs, and they weren't always changing cars to the Sackett's Harbor vehicle. So sometimes when they're patrolling, they were in a sheriff's car, and people were saying, "Hey, we never see the Sackett's police around." When we realized that, we went to John and mentioned it, and so they're going to try. If they're only here for a short, they might not be able to do it every time, but generally they are going to try and use the Sackett's Harbor police vehicles so that people know that it is in fact them working for the village, not just them cruising through on sheriff duty.
And I think the other piece that we weren't aware of too is the truck doesn't have a decal on it. So a lot of people didn't realize that the truck is actually a police.
Really faded.
No, we never had a decal put on it. So he's going to do that to address that situation too, because he's been using the truck. And I was like, I drive by the truck and I don't even know that he's there. So that could fix some of that too. Just being aware.
Did you also discuss part of his time being specific hours and days? And he was amenable to that? Okay.
To the best of his, I mean, again, he works full time. So to be able to get enough coverage, that it's on his, we're working through it. So.
I mean, we all hear it. We never see the police.
But I think part of that is because they're here with their sheriff's car. The truck doesn't have a decal on it. So I think if we address those things and he's more conscious of scheduling so that we don't need someone on a Tuesday, but we need them on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or even a Wednesday. So.
Right.
Yeah. So he's going to work on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he'll report back to us after he.
He lets us know at the meetings when he has new hires anyways. We have to approve those. Okay.
You'll actually see in the bills, there's 2 fingerprint.
So
bills
he must
that
already
were-
have them.
No,
worked.
yeah,
Yeah.
but
But yeah, he'll tell us when the decal's on as well. All right, anything with fire? You wanna- Okay. Dave is not here, but we have his reports. And somebody mentioned, Jim asked me about the charging station. So he's working on that. There was a grant that we had. I'm not sure where it stands, but Dave knows, so we'll get back to you on that, Jim. Kathy is also out sick. She sent her report in, and I did think it was interesting. She noted that with the TI council marketing cycle, they turn off for March. It's like when they refresh their calendar year. So they didn't have any ads running for March, and they saw, did you say 65%?
Yeah.
I think it was 65% drop in traffic. So loosely, we can assume about 65% of our traffic comes from that ad campaign. Plus or minus seasonal, blah, blah, blah. But that was just the March numbers, which is useful.
Does he need us to do anything with this resolution on the climate smart?
No,
Or did we already do that?
Peg put that in because we didn't have a copy of the changed version. in our
Okay,
packet,
thank
but
you.
We already approved it.
Okay.
This is just the printed copy. with
Okay,
the-
I just wasn't sure if we needed to do something
With
with,
the paragraph that said, it's an advisory board.
okay.
He made the change and we voted on it, but it was annotated, not printed out. So this is the actual wording of the approved resolution. Any other notes to bring back to Kathy or Dave? I can send them a message. Me? All right,
I am on Zoom if you guys need me.
sorry.
I am here on the Zoom if you need me. This is Kathy.
Oh, hey, Kathy. I think we're good. Did you hear my comment on your,
Yes.
yeah, that was the main thing I noted. Oh, I did have a question about where we are on the deck. Do we have any updates from our contractor?
I talked to him a couple weeks ago. He said he would be starting in April. His main concern was that the overnight temperatures be above freezing consistently, so we should be approaching that by now.
Okay.
But yeah, he's supposed to start imminently.
I blame the last snow on my brother. He took his plow stakes down and I was like, you're just asking for trouble. Any other questions for Kathy now that we have her, guys? All right. Thanks, Kathy. Hope you feel
Thank
better.
you. Thanks.
Janet.
Work. On meeting last month, I think most of you were there. But we have a shorter agenda for tomorrow evening. Back for another round.
As long as you keep it shorter this time.
Yes.
Any questions on the stuff on the planning boards? Thanks, Janet. Our engineers are not here today. Brandon is at a conference Corey's at a conference and I think Brandon is sick. They sent an update. Basically, they're kind of in a lull right now. The I&I study is waiting on the demarcation, which sounds like is underway. So hopefully that will get going. But they didn't have any other updates for us from their end. Good, I think we're relevant. I did, send him a couple more. There's some other grant opportunities that I sent him that might be applicable to our sewer and water situation, but they do a good job of tracking those as well, so. Do you have any notes for Corey or Brandon?
That's the query questionnaire.
Yeah, no, I'm just looking. He's down to not even a full page.
No.
From
Like
2,
that.
so
We'll come up with something.
he's doing better. I asked Chris about the drainage, but she didn't.
He didn't help.
She didn't give me an answer, so I can't see it,
That's why
right?
Greg voted for the pay raise. He's hoping Chris will take his job.
Oh,
All right. Good on engineers. Peg, anything from the office?
No, the big news is I'm back. Trying to get caught up again. I did include in the packets in the back there, the water coaches today. And no big surprise there. That'll be easy within normal ranges. I expect that, the kids in Patriot Pride Day will be able to help us stuff envelopes in the other stuff. That's the 15th, I believe. And, just to report.
I'm on the water report. If you look through, there's like a bunch of different things they check for. We're in the not flagged range for everything, which is normal for us. We have a pretty good location where the inlet is, besides the sea monster that dented our intake. Any questions for the office, guys?
Nope.
Okay. Community orgs. Anything from the chamber, guys?
We're going to have some sort of permits for this year's events coming in pretty soon. It's the same as last year, Oktoberfest and Halloweenville. Those are going to be open containers. At this point, you're very familiar with those organizations. We are anticipating both of them to continue growing, particularly that Oktoberfest, which was 2,000 people last year. We'd like to see it reach 3,000 this coming year. We have a new board member, Claire Cruz. She just came on board, so we've got a full crew right now. We're firing on all cylinders. Our memberships are up, our outreach is up, so we've made some significant improvements. We've been working as a board. We're not gatekeeping this. Let me be clear. We just happen to have a relationship with an organization called Next Move New York, which is chaired by her husband, Ben Cruz. And their Sackett's residents, they've got inside connections to other organizations and nonprofits, and they can point us in directions in terms of employment, keeping Fort Drum families here to move into the area, housing, grants, etc. So there's a lot of benefit. We don't gatekeep anything. We just happen to have that relationship. So if the village or any residents of the village need to get in touch with Next Move New York to understand what they bring in, we're happy to fill you in and pass that information along. So there was some negative feedback last year on the Oktoberfest, particularly with the tire. And I just want to let Judy know that I ordered some custom sized long pants. I will not, that's it. I will not be wearing-
Shorts?
Sorry, I will not be wearing the shorts secondhand that I purchased from a bike. So they're custom made, and I thought of you the whole time.
Our attendance is gonna take a hit, Mike. I don't know.
That's disappointing.
That and I lost, I'll be 20 pounds down from that, so we'll be all right.
Any questions for Mike, guys?
No.
Thanks, Mike. Any other community groups? All right. We'll move on to board reports. We'll start with mine. Yeah, nothing exciting this month. So I, to Mike's comment there, I did get some attention this month. I also received a letter that was sent to the paper. Love letter from an anonymous number of people. I don't know if it's people from in town or not, or many people from wherever. with some lists of things they think I have done incorrectly. Our board obviously welcome to look through. I'm not going to read a long letter and speak to my argument of each point, but always open to questions if there is any worry that I've done something with respect to like the Lawlers or any of my other business stuff. You guys are always welcome to do any investigations or questions. You know, a lot of one of these points was about, you know, approving the Lawlers subdivision, which we were legally required to do and was a unanimous vote by the board. But I didn't realize at the time this did not go to you guys. I thought you already had a copy. So I'll send it to you if you have any questions.
Actually, I did find it in the
Oh, you
folder.
did?
It's in the
Okay.
back.
If you have any questions about it, I'm happy to go over things, and you 100% should, and we all should. If there's any questions of impropriety, do a thorough check and make sure that everyone's comfortable with everything. There's a few things in here that are not entirely accurate. The group actually did say they used AI and Google to come up with this list, which I get it. It, you know, spell checks really well, but it also is a supercomputer, not a person. So take a look. If you guys have any questions, feel free to chat with me. If you are nervous and want to talk amongst yourselves about something, you obviously are free to do that. And let me know if it's a concern for the rest of the board. Beyond that, as far as the questions of, you know, boycott and group things, I can't affect other people's decision, whether they understand that I own one or two businesses and not the others. From what I can tell, a lot of the noise is from people. We had a lot of comments on, like, for instance, the Barracks Inn saying, you know, I eat there every year and I'm never coming back. And it's like, well, it's been closed to the public for 5 years. So, and you've never posted anything outside of Arizona. So I don't know how much that'll be. I've talked to the business owners. I understand the frustration coming out of winter. This is a very lean time and everyone's looking forward to their first profitable weekend. I'm hopeful that for everyone who's mad at me, there's someone who isn't that'll come and backfill there. You know, I will continue doing what I do to try and bring people to town. And yeah, if you want to chat with me about it, I'm happy to talk about it. So other than that, that's all I got for this month. Oh, well, besides the bank report, which I could do later, but it's more the same. We're producing more water than we're metering. We're hunting down some leaks. It's going to get a little easier. Lynn and I have a couple ideas as to where we can make some progress. And then as things dry out, where leaks are coming from will be more obvious. So hopefully between the I&I study and that, we'll get some of these issues resolved. Any other questions for me, guys? Oh, Kelly?
I have a very short report. I just want to report that Sarah and I met with some downtown businesses to work on a solution for our temporary structure problem, for a lack of a better term. We're still working through that. I do have a couple questions maybe for Janet that maybe before we draft something. It seems like the challenge is going to be making sure that whatever temporary structure we approve is somehow also going to fit the historical rules and regulations. I feel like that's the biggest hurdle. So we're in the midst of doing that right at the moment. The other thing I wanted to report on is the Joint Rec Committee needs permission from this board to pave the parking lot back here. Lynn has secured us at least one quote. On the high end, he said would be 25,000. They have rollover money from last year and money from this current budget to cover that. But that would, we've been trying to get that situated for the last couple of years. It will allow us to have 2 full court basketball courts. The new hoops should be here this week. And the pickleball court that we've been asked to place in the middle, that will hopefully that will provide enough room for that as well. So we're hoping to get that paved and done before June, but obviously we're at the beck and call of the paver. So I need permission from the board to approve a price of 25,000 for the Joint Rec Committee to spend on paving that back there.
About that, guys?
That's just the only quote we've gotten so far.
He's thinks that's the best quote. We have to get through others just because we need 3, but
We'd be approving spending that or less.
Correct. It would be 25 or less.
We're not waiting if, they can do it. And it's.
I just want to get on that guy's list so that he's not paving in July. I'd like it done sooner, so
Try patching it. It's too cracky.
it needs to
doesn't
be
work.
redone.
Is that, I asked this question last month. Is that include taking out the sub base,
No,
paving over the
we're gonna
concrete?
pave right over the top of it because taking the sub base, it'll be too much work. Oh, you are?
Oh, you
Well,
are?
see, you changed it on me.
At that price? Oh,
Okay.
that's good. It needs to be.
Yeah, I think it probably should come out too.
I do. I agree. Yeah.
He changed his mind since the last time I talked to him. So,
Okay.
all right.
That's not an easy job.
I'll make a motion to approve that. It's in there. They've already budgeted their, so.
Okay.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
I,
Anything else?
Nope, that's all I got.
See you guys. All right, any questions for Kelly, guys? Cool, great.
Just one thing, I wanted to circle back to something that actually Kelly had started a while ago. That was the code of ethics. It's a hefty document, a lot of legalese. But we probably should, have a definite time to.
Peggy said that we approve it every December, but I do think it warrants actually reading
It does.
through it at a meeting where people are hearing. I think
It does.
that would be a good time to go over that and just refresh everybody's memory about what the policy entails to make sure that we are ethically conducting ourselves according to NICOM and according to the state and what the board is supposed to be doing, just to make sure. So
I did some research, and Sarah, I don't know if you want to kind of just check my work maybe, but from what I understand, legally, New York State already has this in place. However, we can't enforce, same thing as the fireworks. We can't enforce, this board can't enforce New York law. So if we don't have a policy, then we are reliant on reporting any problems up the chain and hoping they get paid attention to. And so generally speaking, the advice that I could find, people like NICOM and other legal opinions about what municipalities should do was mirror the state law, but enshrine it as a village law so that, if Greg is selling the village hot dogs for $1,000 or whatever the problem is, we have the ability to act as a board with some sort of teeth. Whereas if we don't have that in place, we're reliant on a higher authority to do anything. And so the logic is similar to the fireworks law, where we don't need necessarily to do a lot of the drafting because the state already has a copy. But again, I'm not an attorney, so I was.
actually, we adopted one that's not the state's. We do have an adopted one.
Oh, yeah, but it was drafted based on, I think, another.
It was, we mirrored it. Mhm. We mirrored it after the
What
one.
was it mirrored after? Okay.
NICOMs, we literally took NICOMs and just made it ours, but it's always open to look at and to make edits. But I agree with you. I brought it up last month that we should bring it back and just to make sure we have a new board member, just to make sure that it's not just a blanket thing that we check every December, that we actually look at it. And, I need to look at it and refresh my memory as well.
No, there's a lot in there.
There is.
There is.
Is it smarter to do it in sections?
Probably,
It's like 15 pages in, it's all legal.
yeah.
I mean, we could put it on the agenda for just a formal review next month if you guys want to try and assign some.
Yeah, otherwise it just keeps getting kicked
Yeah.
down the
Yeah.
road.
Mhm.
Yeah, and
We've been talking about it for a couple of months, so.
yeah.
Soon schedule and get.
Throw it on the list, Peg.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else?
That's it.
Any questions for Greg? All right, Sarah?
Nothing from me, and just same as Kelly, working through that, hoping to get something drafted up that's full with the planning board by early summer so that it can be in place before fall for businesses who utilize those types of structures. But other than that, the flag policy, did that make it over to the village attorney?
It did, he said basically, he has nothing to do with it. He doesn't need to. It looks fine. And since we already approved it, it is good to
Adopted.
go, and we can change or modify policy at any time. It's not as formal as a resolution for a law because we're dictating our own behavior, not anyone else's.
I would ask that it be put on our website if it's not already. The flag policy. I would ask that the flag policy and the fireworks that we just adopted, I think both of them need to be put on our website.
Yeah.
Please.
I agree.
I don't know where, but I think,
There's a.
okay,
It's searchable, so that if someone looks up policy and.
okay.
All right, any questions for Sarah, guys? Hope.
My only report is about the application for the 4th of July celebration. I have a handout for each of you if you wanted to take it. I didn't give it out before. I have it all here. Just take all of those and pass.
The event app is in the packet too.
Oh,
So it's a shorthand.
Yeah, the event is for the 4th of July. It's called the Great American Celebration. For the 4th and 5th, Saturday is the 4th, and we have quite a few different events scheduled for it. I would like to recommend that we close off put the map in here. Market Street Square on Saturday from 8 o'clock in the morning to probably 6 o'clock in the evening, because there's going to be a lot of pedestrians with all the activities that are going on. Children's parade, blessing of the fleet, ukulele circle. We have a town crier. You can see on the list that I've given you. I have quite a large team that's working with me to put this all together, and it's really working well. One thing that I'm working on is that you had mentioned that the Housing Authority should do fundraisers. And so I am suggesting that the Housing Authority have specific stands, like a lemonade stand or popcorn stand, an ice cream stand, and have what profit is made there, give to the Housing Authority, with acknowledgement that there is a Housing Authority and there is a need for some money to that community within our village. And the other thing that I would like to suggest is that we have have some rerouting signs besides the barricades, the sawhorses on those two, so that cars know. The barrier is going to maintain that the boat ramps are accessible during that time that I'm asking for it to be closed.
You're
But-
talking about basically where the bollards are for shutting the connection between the visitor center or lawn to Market Square Park.
so in front of Market Square Park.
So,
Yeah.
but keeping the two roads open. And
Yes,
yeah.
yes. So that the ramps are open and so that people can,
I mean, honestly, I think some of the people down Main Street might appreciate that, but I don't know that we want to close that section on a Saturday, 4th of July is a pretty busy time. But I mean, it's not, anyone who's going further can loop around. I know
And that's what
the
I'm
skate park
asking
often
is-
Closes their parking lot anyway, so it's not like there's a lot of parking down there. And you can still access it, but it's an open question. When we originally talked, we did say we didn't think closing Main Street on the 4th of July, especially given it's a Saturday, would be super tenable. However, that is past all the businesses and parking lots. And that
Only
is
that
a
section.
communal space that we designed to shut off for big events.
Right, well, we have the bollards
Mhm.
there.
Yeah,
I mean,
we haven't
before
used
that-
them yet because we've used,
Yeah.
no, we've only used the blue. Have we put them up ever?
what are you talking
Yeah.
about?
Yeah.
Okay, we also put the
Yeah.
blue, because I remember a few times we didn't bother with them because we wanted to move the things, but we usually put the blue barricades in addition. But,
But I would suggest also that
Yes, I'm
we could
sorry.
have some
I-
reroute signs so that people know that.
I think if we did it, we absolutely would need that. I'm not 100% sold on shutting that. I hadn't thought that was part of the plan, so I haven't spent time with it. I don't know what you guys think. But I don't think.
They have to be shut that whole time. what time are the actual events in front of?
It's going on, it's on the piece of paper.
Yeah,
It's-
if you've got things on both sides, idea is pedestrians just,
Go back and forth, back and forth. Yeah.
And typically, I think when the village is very busy, people are doing that all of Main Street and people have to drive slowly.
I
But
wouldn't want cars going through.
yeah, I understand.
Are we putting things in that space, like in the road?
There's,
I don't think
Is there going to be a food, well, I'm asking if there's going to be a food truck.
no,
that's
there's
gonna
no
be in
food
the-
trucks. There's no food trucks.
So there's nothing physically that's going to be in the road. You're doing it just to stop.
It's to make it a open space
If they
pedestrian
have things
for
at the bandstand and things in the lawn.
bandstands on the
lot of
lawn.
people
Yeah,
walk.
we have a storyteller, we have a town crier, we have a ukulele group, we have
I
bands
don't like
playing.
the idea of closing it until 6 PM. People start coming for fireworks way sooner than that.
The bands
We
are
don't need
playing
to
till
approve
5
that
o'clock.
today either. We can, I think,
Okay.
I would like
Okay.
some time to think about
Okay.
what is happening during that time, both here and elsewhere in the village, and how annoying, because when we first talked, I was like, absolutely do not think we should be shutting Main Street like we do for Oktoberfest, because I just think we're much more swamped for the 4th of July than we are for a lot of other events, particularly if the weather cooperates. And this is the first year in a minute it's been on a Saturday.
But I'm not asking for all
I
of Main
understand,
Street to
but
be
I-
closed.
We had
Okay, I
not
mean,
talked
we can,
about it enough before.
okay,
I,
all right.
if you guys want to approve it, that's welcome to. I just think we don't need to at the moment, and I think we can.
I'm
approve
still in the
event.
planning phases
Yeah,
and we can talk
approve
about
the
it later.
event And come back around next month while we've had some time to think about it, about closing that section.
I just can't imagine people trying to drive that far down Main Street.
Now, I mean, usually you're,
The ones that are trying to get to the boat ramp is
Yeah,
going to.
no, what I'm saying is that if we were to close it, I don't think it would affect the normal traffic conditions.
it makes it a little bit of a
Anyway.
pain to
I mean, to
people
be fair,
turning
people
around.
aren't
fill that,
parking
but-
down there to go to the fireworks. I mean,
Right,
there's something to be said for that. They're not doing that. They're parking somewhere else.
right.
I don't think it's an immediate no. I'm like,
Yeah, I just need to think on like all of the
That's fine.
logistics of it. Just because, right, we had mentioned it a month or two ago and I thought we were like, no, we're not closing the road. So
I
it
know,
hasn't
and I-
been part of my thinking process, so I might need a little bit more.
So it would just be though from,
Just the
from.
bollards.
Just the
from
bollards.
There to,
Right.
Yeah.
right, just that.
Just
yeah,
that.
and not inclusive of either. So both of them are open to the boat launch and to
Yep, yep,
traffic.
yep.
I mean, that was the intent of the design
I
for
know,
this park.
right,
I do
that's-
think it's nice and could work more. We talked about, I think a couple of years ago about making that the ice rink. But
I mean, that was,
That would be fun. How did I?
that
miss
was the idea
conversation?
behind the design was to
Really?
it was,
be able to close that off.
Oh, that's cute.
yeah, I just want to think it through a little bit, but yeah, we'll get to the event application when we get down there, but I don't think, I'm fine saying it's approved, but we're not sure about the closing yet, and we'll discuss
Okay.
more about what hours would make sense and
Yeah.
any sort of mitigation we want to do.
Okay.
So
it's approved.
Oh, we didn't say.
Well, we gotta
haven't
look
got
through
there
this.
yet.
Okay, okay.
No, we haven't got there yet.
For what it's worth, we did tell you, you don't technically need to do an approval if it's a village event.
I know.
But we also said as long as she wasn't closing a road, which she is, she's changed her plan.
Here's what your opinion is about the road closure, Lynn.
I don't think it's gonna hinder much. I think it's perfectly fine. Safety.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. That's why I want to
I
close.
guess I'm just more concerned because it's 4th of July and I just haven't had a minute to
It's a
wrap my
weird,
head
because
around it.
normally we have a lot of people because we're one of the few communities that does the fireworks on the 4th, whatever the day.
But it's actually
Watertown
on
and a lot of other
Saturday.
people do Saturday, so I don't know if it being on a weekend will mean we get more people or less because they're going to other communities, so it's kind of a crapshoot.
I think like Kelly said, people aren't parking down that far. They're walking from.
So that's why I'm wondering if we could close it from noon to 6 rather than, I think you were
No.
8 a.m.
Because the kids, she's doing.
All
like
the
bicycle
morning
parade in the
activities,
morning.
we have to have it closed at least.
I think opening it at like.
Hope, what are you thinking? 10?
She has 8
No,
a.m.
I'm
until 6
starting
p.m.
at 9 o'clock. We have a children's bike parade.
Okay, so you're thinking like
It's going
8
from the
AM to 6 PM is,
Yes, because then the bands are playing at the bandstand until 5 o'clock. So we could open up.
Honestly, yes, I mean,
I think once you
Fireworks are
close
on
it, you don't want to open it and then reclose
No,
it.
I
You-
don't.
Once you close it,
No,
we're just at the end of it, like at 6, if we open it.
right.
right.
Stay
And then at 6 o'clock, everybody's gonna be coming in for the fireworks and the road will be open.
Yeah, it's a long way down there.
Okay. Any other questions for Hope, guys? We'll move on to correspondence. I already talked about the Dank report, the letter from the Battlefield Alliance. We got that about a week ago. I forget if we posted, I think Mark posted it. Kelly and I worked on a draft. You guys have all seen this. We also got today, I don't know when it came in, but I only skimmed it because I didn't see it until 6 o'clock. The American Battlefield Trust, the organization that actually does the purchasing, also sent a letter supporting Battlefield Alliance's position. We talked about this at length. The main points, the concern of the cost is looking at a new development. Part of the attraction here is the infrastructure is already in place. They brought up the market conditions, which, the village is a bit of a microcosm, and our citing national data, I don't think is super accurate. When you look around the village, things don't last super long when they're for sale. In terms of preservation, we did the archaeological study. Multiple members on the LDC board also brought up the fact that the soil in the place we're doing has been on the north parcel completely reclaimed. So that is not original soil. It was taken down to bedrock because of the oil tankers. And so that is fresh dirt with nothing interesting in it, unless somebody lost something in the last 30 years there. Just not going to be as interesting as something 200 years old. And we also walked through, the state park's current or original parcel. One of the things we talked about was the original land was 40 acres, of which most people kind of see the 20 that's developed as the park proper. And the rest of the original parcel is just encircled by a path and is kept as a hayfield. In the last few years, the Battlefield Trust has acquired Horse Island, the north parcel of Bolton's, and currently owns and has off of the tax roll just under 12, I think it's like 11.7% of land in the village. The 100 feet frontage on Ambrose, right now, I don't even think that road is super, like when my niece lived with us, I didn't let her walk on that because people treat it like a country road because it's wide open. Concept of like people drive the speed the road feels like, not the signage. And so I think having housing there will accomplish quite a few things that we've talked about at length with this board and the LDC. Quick list is obviously the tax base, amortizing the infrastructure we already have across more people, adding homes near the school. We've talked about options for deed restricting it so that people can't combine lots and leave it empty if they just want one big house on 3 lots. It also will reduce the driving speed. We've talked about putting a path behind the homes on the north parcel like the state park has. So the view shed isn't super changed. It's just moved 100 feet over and now there's a dedicated trail. We've also, Jim and I discussed this, and part of the economic output of this are water projects where we're replacing 4 streets, sewer and water. I think it's 3 and 4. I'm not sure exactly which ones are water only and sewer off the top of my head. We have, because of you're pushing 50 years now, man. Multi-decades stewardship from Jim had a pretty solid economic position with respect to the water intake and our water infrastructure. Right now, we have the funds in the bank to do the sewer replacement. We are a bit short. If we were to do the water, we would have to take on some debt, which would either mean reduced other programming and services or increased taxes in the future. We can, from the sale of this land, because it is owned half by the village, allocate the sale dollars into the water fund and thus solving 2 problems at once. So, we've discussed this at length. I am aware that the Battlefield Trust and the Battlefield Alliance, sorry, you guys, the American Battlefield Trust and the local Battlefield Alliance are opposed to this. That has come up in every step of the way. I appreciate the input, but I think, the concerns you guys had are things that we have either already talked about or were things that this board and the LDC, we didn't have an official vote, but I will say nobody took issue with the reply. So at this time, I don't think we're reconsidering the plan as it is.
We do have copies of our reply if somebody would like to see what our reply was to the Second Harbor Battlefield Alliance. And we are working on a document to assist in being more transparent about what our thought process is behind it and what we're doing moving forward. We are working on that before to get everybody so that you guys are aware of what that's supposed to look like. We've had some questions, and rightfully so. We would like to be able to explain that a little bit better. So we're working on something at this point, nothing's before the planning board. We're just in the process of still planning it. And so we're in that process of working out some things to be more clear about what the plan and what the project is going to look like. So we're hoping in the next month or so,
I think we
or less, hopefully before the next meeting, get that out.
So you have an aerial view of what.
Right, with a map to show, with some explanation about what the project entails and how we're going to divide that project up. So.
Just in the interest of, we have another section for public comment at the end. I know there are people here explicitly for this reason. If it's okay with everyone else, I'm going to move our public comment from the end to now. So that we're not talking about three other things and then circling back to this. So to that end, I'm going to open public comment. We're going to stick to brief 3-minute rule again. Try to make your point concise if you can. We're not going to get into like a argument, shouting match, but I do, if you have other additional comments people want to bring up, we may or may not address them directly. I would politely ask, since this is the last section of public comment, I will also let other people bring up something else, but please wait until the discussion about the Battlefield Trust people have had their chance to speak. And then if you have another thing you want to bring up before the end of the meeting, we'll kind of like do public comment A and B. Okay. All right. I'll open the floor. We'll do one at a time, but yeah. Go ahead, Mark.
First of all, thank you for the response. I got it about 6:15. I got to read it though, so thank you very much. And that's important because dialogue is the key to this, right? So I do want to say I do appreciate the letter back. I haven't been able to share it with the rest of the board, but we meet soon and we'll do that. And while I planned on reading the entire letter, I'm really just going to remark on a couple of quick things. So big ad lib to keep it short, but I wanted to remind the board that under the village's 2012 Second Harbor Battleground Preservation and Management Plan, this land right down to Ambrose is considered a core area. It's ranked as #1 priority by national parks. It is the historic avenue of approach for British forces and transit support. So it's not like, we have most of the battlefield. Once you lose it forever. I've been working with Battlefield Trust for the last couple of months. And I've seen the pictures, heard the stories about how these historic sites go away and they never come back. So people just miss that. I've talked about the 1813 view. That's important. That's the view you get from Ambrose Street to the lake. That is exactly what was presented, to the Americans by British forces as they came. They did not come down the battlefield near the lake. They came around on the very land that we're talking about. So it's just not nothing. So we are also waiting on Battlefield Trust to come up with a purchase offer as well. So I know something is in the works. Finally, if the Battlefield Alliance does purchase this, and donates it back probably are not gonna face the DEC debt trap, where 20 years of remediation, the DEC wants its dollars back. And sure, if you sell to, if the village LDC sells to private, you're gonna probably have to pay the DEC back. This particular model, you don't have. So, I just want to remind folks of that, and I'm not sure, because no one was on the board in 2012 here, so I don't know if you saw that. It's a very detailed document with really interesting mapping. You should take a look at it if you have it. So again, you have a clear choice. I appreciate that your letter did say that we should continue the dialogue, and I welcome that. In fact, I would say that we should send me. Thank you.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Does the Battlefield Alliance have a plan for utilizing that property? Because when I look at the 11% of property that's owned by the state, it's underutilized. There's not programming. Is there a plan for programming for that? Or is it just going to sit there like the rest of the properties other than that? I mean, to my knowledge, there's no programming on them.
Right now, it's natural environment. It's a migration area for birds, and we know that there's a huge risk with taking that away. In fact, last summer there was actually a problem because the farm part was done at an inappropriate time. That impacted the migration. So there's that aspect. We forget about the environment. It doesn't have to be the Battlefield Alliance doesn't, and the site, which is the state of New York. It's up to them to really come up with programming, and so we haven't gotten that far with it.
Okay.
So that's the longer answer to your question.
Okay. I just was curious to see what the long-term plan was other than acquisition.
Now,
Mark, it's interesting you bring up the environment because as you know, my view shed is Horse Island.
Yes.
There are eagles. There have been eagles there
Yeah.
for years.
Yeah.
Last year with all of the construction going on, those eagles were non-existent.
Right.
They have yet to reappear this year as a result of all of the work that Parks has done. So, it's got to work both ways here.
Right.
You can use it for your defense, but you gotta be accountable for what you're doing as well.
Right, I'm not the state of New York.
I understand, but you're representing the same viewpoint.
You're advocating us
Okay,
turning over
yes.
the land to them, right? So the part of the issue is, a lot of the rhetoric about this, and I hesitate to even like bring David, and he's not here. I hate to bring him up, but his point of view has been that we have not talked about this in public enough. And one of the things that's frustrating to me is we've had many meetings where we talk about it, and the state bought Horse Island. I did not hear one word in the public about what they were doing, trenching utilities through the water to the island. The neighboring properties where they bought, I forget the little cottage that they own as well.
We just received a note, a
We're
letter from a
frustrated.
family that they're trampling on their property while they're trying to get,
Right. And
they're trying to get to
and
Horse
the
Island.
state
So
parks are not super accountable locally. So
I can't defend.
Yeah.
I'm sure, and if I were the parks folks, I'd be more accountable to you. I can say that.
I appreciate that, but they have very little incentive to do that. And I don't think that us turning over more land to them will change that fact.
Right, but the only way to preserve the entirety of the battle, the best way is to allow the state. Right now, the state's working on the trust is working on 8 projects in New York State, hundreds and hundreds of acres that we need to preserve because they were historically significant. And some of them and some of them are a little bit newer, but ours is actually one of the top battlefields that they even talk about in Washington. When I went down to Washington to do some advocacy in Congress, everybody wants to know about Saga's Harbor's battlefield because it presents so well.
But do you think that they mean the actual battlefield, not the property on Ambrose Street? I mean, yes, the battlefield.
That is the battlefield.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, again, one of the points we talked about was, the constraint we have currently for tourism is not space-based. There's plenty of room there that they have only developed half of what they've had for 20 years. In the last 5 years, maybe 8, maybe I don't remember exactly when Horse Island got acquired. Horse Island and the Bolton's North parcel have roughly 5x, maybe 6, the total area of the battlefield.
It's almost
It
200
is not,
acres.
like the attraction to that space, I really do not believe is volume constrained. I think it is programming and vision and use and creativity and doing something with it that is not happening. And so.
Have you ever visited other battlefields?
Yes, I have actually.
They're just there usually, and they have
Well-
monuments. Ours actually has 2 monuments, one for the Crown forces and one for our forces.
But that's on the battlefield proper though. What you're asking us to do is Ambrose Street.
That's an incorrect, viewpoint, because this is all up to Ambrose Street, is all core battlefield.
So the capital B battlefield, what I say when we're talking about what the original was, is the park as it stands today, knowing that likely the battlefield trust is going to deed some of it over and expand it. But the original battlefield park is 40 acres.
That's what he's saying. Okay.
I understand that your group's perspective is that entire peninsula effectively is the battlefield. But I don't think that the attraction to Sackett's and that space requires no home on that street for the first 100 feet. And I understand you guys disagree.
Okay, so
But that's
but here's what, this is, I'm, I don't want to take up more time of
Yeah.
of.
Sorry, I started by asking you a question. I apologize.
Reclaim my time.
You're fine.
2 good points. One is, before we had all this, homes, Greg's homes over there too, right? So that in a way could have all the battlefield, but it's not, right? But it's never gonna change. Those houses are gonna be there forever. Now, the other thing is, we always focus on
Yes.
when, to me, if you found a tract of land in Hounsfield where taxpayers would pay not 2 taxes, or not 3 taxes, but 2. And if 50 homes were built in a first-time home buyer's neighborhood, a neighborhood similar to what I lived in when I was 20 years old, you can think that there's an impact to the school, lower tax rate, but we never search. We're always looking at Sackett's proper, and I'm like, you know what? The best of both worlds is out on Route 3 where you're 3 miles from Watertown shops.
I would agree with that, but we don't have control over that property. The only thing that we can impact is what's within the village. The town could perhaps do that, and I encourage them wholeheartedly to take that on.
I would suggest you, the LDC could. They could be searching for property available, and there are some Hounsfield tracts that are available. So I think it's inside the box thinking. I think trying to cram everything in block a vista and put homes where you will never have that battlefield again. I mean, look at Gettysburg.
I feel like with creativity, we could accomplish both. And so that's where I would like that open communication. So I feel like we could accomplish both things if we are open-minded and working together. So I welcome the conversation. Okay. Sorry.
All right. Anything else on the battlefield from the rest of the crew?
Yeah, a real simple question. What would it take to buy that land outright? Well, is there a number that you can put on it?
In the past, the LDC has been offered funds from an individual who wanted to buy it. We have received offers from the Battlefield Trust. Our position right now, and again, correct me if I'm overly specific, but is that the best use of that land is not to just get the dollars out of it in the short term. It's about bringing in
that property. You have plenty of property for sale in the town. There are some new houses being built. Wouldn't it be just a better use to not spend any more money on that land, get your market value out of it, and taxpayers so we can fund these other projects that you're doing?
I would encourage you to go to the meeting next month, and Jen Gaffney will be here to talk about the school's issues. And I don't think that, well, that's.
I highly disagree. I've been, sorry. They are the center point of our community, and
You're subsidizing most topics. Anyway, that's just a personal.
Understood.
That's highly offensive.
Understand from a financial perspective.
If you want
have
to.
no interest in it. The only interest you have is in developing that land.
not the only interest, but I think that's the plan that we have currently that I think is the best use.
Talking about, because you made a decision.
Well, yeah, we've done this for 3 years and this keeps coming up as an issue and we get the letter and
We've had the land probably 40 years, Eric?
Yeah.
We've had that land
Yes.
about over 20 years.
Thank you. Okay, 20, sorry.
About 10 or 12 were cleaning it up.
Right,
For oil and all that crap.
right.
That's not.
And if you'd like, I'm happy to sit down and walk through the numbers with you, but I think it does make a lot of sense and it's difficult to do in a group setting, but if you want to sit down, I'll show you the map, I'll show you our plan. I think it's a good one and I'm happy to.
That's public.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to ask that question. So for me, it satisfies me that you're not interested in selling that land outright and that you're intent on just building houses.
Do you mind introducing yourself so we know who's?
Yeah, sorry, my name's Chris Westfall. I'm new to the neighborhood. I live in Hounsfield in the Guthrie House.
Thanks. I always forget you, appreciate it. All right, anybody else for the battlefield stuff before we move on to open public comment and then finish up with events? Yeah.
Mark Smith, military road. Have you thought about adding more lots to that? Because this community really needs young families with young children. I am probably the youngest guy in this room, maybe, and I have young children, and it's hard to afford healthcare.
We agree.
I agree.
Right.
Thank you.
We need more development.
Yeah, we did talk about doing a second row on the south parcel eventually. But one of the points that Mark brought up about infrastructure, which also applies to building from Hounsfield, is even harder because there's no sewer plant there. So everyone's got to do septic, which changes density, which increases infrastructure costs. But the reason that street frontage makes the most sense is there's very limited infrastructure cost because we have water, sewer, power, and gas all trunked to serve Outer Ambrose, the residential neighborhood down there. And adding another road around would actually be fairly expensive. And to do that all in a phase one would encumber the village with a debt load that I think would be reasonable to say is risky because we need to sell these off at a certain pace to make sure that it makes sense. And the way we're doing it now, I think is, nothing is risk-free. Things can go not according to plan, but it will allow us to not risk public capital essentially in this process. And then we do agree that like generally the view shed is important and that putting a path behind the north parcel row of houses would be nice to do and could make a lot of sense. However, I have always been of the mind that because we don't have any real way to impact the state's decisions, we can do the same thing by keeping it a village park.
No, I'm for it. I would like to see you take profit from phase one and add a second row of houses afterwards. If you could roll that or hop and it was new structure.
I appreciate the feedback. Thanks. Anybody else on the battlefield stuff? Anybody on Zoom? Okay. I'm going to open up public comment for anything else. Mike?
I'm gonna give a little credentials here. I worked for Dink slightly less than 10 years, was fired for not getting the vaccine. So I'm not their biggest fan. Having said that, as Greg pointed out, it takes a class 4 operator. However, something that I don't think they're considering. You have to have another operator when that operator gets sick or goes on vacation. And that has to be a DOH certified operator, Department of Health. Different than anybody. All respect to the department or DPW here. They don't have the specialized equipment that Dink has. Dink has a lot of specialized equipment that comes along with that contract. Grade 4 operators are not cheap. You're looking at $80,000 to $90,000 just for his salary. That's not counting any other costs, jetters, leak detection. Another thing Dink did a lot of is a lot of the grants the village get. They facilitated that at a reduced cost. Also, the salary for that grade 4 operator was covered by the other communities that Dink contracted with. The village was not paying for that grade 4 salary. They were paying for all of the services. So I think all that needs to be considered. And like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of Dank right now. However, I look at the facts and I look at reality. It takes a lot. And that has to be a level 2 operator that fills in at the very least, that fills in for the grade 4. That's a lot of schooling that has to be paid for. So, I mean, there's a lot of costs there. I was a level 3, so I know the type of schooling that was in that. So, that's something I don't know if you guys have considered it. I don't know if you as a community need to know that. I think in the long run, it's gonna cost a lot more to get rid of Dink. I think you're saving money by having Dink. And like I said, I am not their biggest fan.
We've
So
probably discussed this, but have we talked to the town about doing a private contracted?
You guys don't have do you have a Dink contract? So, yeah.
Because
There's some communities that share operators, but I mean, one of us has to be the one to hire one first. I don't think Mike's wrong. It's not just the salary. And one of the things we talked about with Lynn was, so their call-in rules basically say we're always paying overtime at night. We can negotiate with an operator and say, listen, you're on the clock for 20 or 30 hours during the week. And we're just assuming some number of calling hours. We can negotiate a better deal that understands that we don't always need them, but we need them on call often. And yeah, we will have to train one of the other guys to have more certifications as well. But I've been relying on Lynn's expertise to say he thinks that he can accomplish those goals with an internal person. He's pretty reticent.
They know how to do leak detection. They're good with the hydrant repair. They're good with that.
Yeah, I understand.
Shedding, but there's other stuff that Dink provides that.
Can a level 4 train someone else?
No.
Yeah, so we'd have to send them through.
He can train an OJT, but he still has to go to school for DOH to approve them to operate that plant when he's not there.
Yeah.
So.
It's not as simple as like.
But the contract, as we said, within the next, what was it, 3 years? It's gonna be 155,000. So you think it's gonna be more than?
138 is the contract plus the overtime will.
That's also.
As a percentage.
That's the grant services. That's.
I don't know if we've gotten any grants
They have.
from them in quite a while.
It has been a while.
We would have-
System
That was-
one, yeah.
We would have to send someone like Jared to school
Yeah.
to get his
Yeah.
certification.
3 grade 4 operators, so they just automatically provide another one to fill in. They have a lot of grade level 3, and they have a slew of grade 2. So they can fill in the sick time, the vacation time, free of charge, basically. It's included in that cost.
I understand. And then the point is
We have to pay a salary to that grade 2 operator too, that's filling in. And that's, so that's something you gotta look at,
Yeah, it's an open question as to
Yeah,
whether.
We're trying to figure out the cheap, not the cheap, I don't want to sound like we're being cheap, but we're trying to be the most efficient use of taxpayer dollars.
Looked at all this.
Yeah.
I mean, no, you brought up some good
The
points that
other-
it's over my head. I'm not an engineer.
I think also.
I have no
like,
idea.
that I've always thought we would talk to them about, emergency contract of backfilling or something. I don't know if they've done that, but I wanted to, before we go and do that, I wanted to make sure Lynn was comfortable moving forward.
I think we're covered in the fact that if it doesn't work out, we could go back to a contract. So we could try it this way. And if it doesn't,
Not working out, could be their water quality tanking.
hopefully not.
No, well, I understand. It's not a small, change and, yeah.
We have quite a few steps to get through before we get to that point, but
Well,
Just hopefully you look at all that before you.
thank you.
guys
I didn't
make a
realize.
decision. Yeah.
No, Mike, you bring up a good point about needing a class 2 operator in addition to the class 4. And
We would have to train.
we would have to send someone to school.
The water still has.
Right.
That's not cheap.
No, I know. But we would have to do that.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Anything else?
Courtney had
for Public?
Did you have something?
I was just gonna ask if, I know our budget are off between the town and the village, but I don't know if there's an opportunity to talk to the supervisor and like us. And
Yeah,
see
for
if
sure.
It's something that we could.
I'm sure you guys are seeing the same. I don't know when your contract is up.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering if there's an opportunity for us to coordinate.
I'm a huge proponent of coordinating services.
I feel like we've been doing that a lot.
We have, and this could be a,
Well, and I feel like this is one of the big
yes,
things
yes.
that the town and village could
Yes.
maybe work on together. Maybe worth.
Yeah, definitely. Appreciate it. Paul?
Yes, I wish Lynn was still here. Just a point of clarification with what Lynn said. If anyone heard it, but the split of the 2,000 for the memorial,
Yeah.
Mikey, was between the village, the Legion, and his wife.
Mikey's wife, yeah.
I would love to see this community find a way between the village and the community to step up to not his wife have to contribute to that. And if that's something the village is interested in conversation, or if you want me to take it up with Lynn, but I feel like within this community, we can find a way to support that.
Yeah, I was gonna do it offline, but I think we should at least open it up to public donation, because I think Mikey, he has a lot of people who would, I think, be sad to not have the chance to contribute something, even if it's small, towards something like that. And I think that's certainly a responsible thing to do, is at least let people have that option. So we could talk about doing a GoFundMe.
I would agree. I do think Kim feels a little bit like she wants to be part of it too. So I don't want her to feel like we're stepping her out of it, but I would agree with you. I wouldn't like her not to have to feel like she has to. So I think, yes, I agree with you. Whatever we can do to make that happen.
Is it fair to just have those conversations with Lynn and communicate?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, he's a good point, because he's kind of liaising for the Legion and for us.
Perfect. Thank you. And then this might get a little bit cheesy, but serving on a water board in Colorado in a really dire year, there was a moment where I had said, at a certain point in time where there's a lot of moving parts and a lot of things going the wrong direction. And it was springtime, and it was like, it's time for a message of hope. And I feel like, the conversation within this room tonight, incredible public comments, a lot of nice things said, great activity by the board. And I think that between things going on within the school, the village, the businesses, and everything of what's happening right now, I think it's a good time for a spring message of hope with a renewed commitment that, we're all in this community together and we're all here to fight for each other and make it work. So,
Thank you. So to that point, I just want to say thank you for not tabling it, not you guys just listened to us. And when we talked about the raises, no one's denying that you probably deserve them, but thank you for not taking them in this time, knowing everything else that's going on. So I just appreciate it. I just appreciate that you were.
It wasn't done with ill intention.
No,
I mean, honestly, it just never occurred to us,
with the school stuff and.
No.
Yes, it was just nice that.
I wanted to express appreciation for people that all came to the board meeting today.
I told you guys, we put tables out.
I think it's great.
Can set things down. Go ahead.
My name is Sarah Conley. I will give my address is 501 505 West Main Street, which if you don't recognize it is the Pickering Beach Museum. This is my first meeting. Kathy from the Visitor Center is always trying to get me to come. Dave is always trying to get me. So I finally did. Neither of them showed up. But Kathy is a big numbers person. I don't know if you know her, worked with her a lot. So she's been working with us to try and get our numbers together. So I had Pickering Beach monthly attendance for last year, and from figures I had left for me from the previous curator was 2006 to last year for the Pickering Beach attendance, donations, and things like that. So if anybody is interested, I will leave these with Peggy.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for putting that together.
For Dave, for Kathy as well, but I thought people might like to see. Anyone who, I'm active in the village will recognize some of the events that impact us. And I was like, cutting out the village center is always a little problem with us because they don't always walk past it. But I've got a lot of long-term. I have a core of, there's 4 of us right now. We're always looking for volunteers. Diana here is one of my newest. Patty Stevens and Tony Ellinger, who's been there longer than I have been. They are super great and they do wonders, both representing the museum, Sackett's history, and we also try and do as much PR for everybody as we can.
Awesome, thank you.
Representation, food, lodging, and everything else. So Peggy.
Thank you.
Thanks.
As a volunteer, this is a community gem that if you haven't been there, you are missing incredible part of our history, and people that do so much for our community. Just really a privilege.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right, anybody else?
When is the LDC thing getting voted on?
It's already been voted on like a year ago.
Yeah, so we were midway through engineering. It keeps popping back up because well, like
We just need to start.
no, I mean, we're moving. It's right now we're waiting on DOH.
We're waiting.
Finals in the delineation.
Yeah.
There's a wetlands, they have to do the study. One of the parcels, it's just the one on the end, the southmost on the south parcel might get chopped
Tell me
from
the left side
100
of the
by
or the right
200, depends where you're going.
So the right side of Amherst, I guess, is like the biggest.
That's the northern part that,
Yeah.
yes.
So
This northern part
the
that-
last south parcel where the path cuts,
Towards the farm.
that parcel might not be able to be 100 by 200 feet. It might get its corner chopped off. Or it might just be that we keep it that way, but the buyer knows you can't put your shed or garage in the back corner or something like that. So
Right.
those are the things that are currently underway. Being managed, the LDC was named the lead dev for the beginning phases, and the village and the town have agreed to internally do the road cutting all at once. That we're not cutting the road every time somebody buys a lot to put a infrastructure in. Yeah. One more?
So the northern part is where the trail goes behind.
No, that's.
So if you're facing from downtown out, the northern part's to your right. And both sides have right now one row in the current plan. I personally, I know, great desire to do a second row on the north parcel because I do think, the houses that we want on the side will pay more if they don't think someone's gonna build behind them, because their back porch is gonna have that beautiful view, and the trail can go behind there, like the state park has on this houses on Hill Street, kind of have their little path behind their yard. On the south side, I'm more pro to doing a second row eventually, because you're just between the first row houses and the tree line. But we would have to stub out infrastructure, and so the economics are a little tighter for that.
Will the houses going in affect the trail there at all?
Now the existing trail, and we have the option to add to it as well, but. Yeah, Mike?
This is the third meeting in a row that we've gone pretty long, and a lot of it's been the LDC Amherst Street. I know it's already been voted on. I know we're moving forward, and I personally support that. I might recommend, we're having these conversations. I recommend that the board consider maybe having a vote to just put out an LDC information brief with maybe a poster. It seems like these are all the same questions, same conversations, board meeting after board meeting after board meeting.
Right.
And
Yeah.
general 5 views of.
Yeah, we're working on that. We're working on that. It is our hope to have that out before the next board meeting to address exactly that. And hopefully we won't have to keep revisiting. Obviously, people want to know from each phase, and I understand that, but you're right. We keep rehashing the same.
Yeah, no, but I think also Bernier Carr in their preparation will have some material that will be helpful. And that's, underway right now, so.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, anybody else? Anybody on Zoom? Okay, going once.
We have to do the spoker ride.
Oh, right. Yeah, you're right. Look at me, I forgot.
Sorry, we have the
So
spoker.
public comments over. We're gonna go through the applications really quickly. If
Can
you
we-
guys do want to take off, try to just do it quietly so we can keep rolling. Or, sidebar conversations out on the patio. Last up, guys, we have a few quick things. We need to do go through the fireworks law. We already passed last month, but Peg said we missed a few steps, so I'm gonna jump into that and go through, we need to do the seeker. Long and short of it is, we're not changing anything to do with the permitting of fireworks besides adding a stipulation that people have to tell the village in advance. So I think it's very hard to argue that any of that has an environmental impact. So based on that, I do have to read the end of the seeker. Based on the examination and consideration of the long environmental assessment form in comparison to the proposed action and criteria set forth at 617.7, no significant impact on the environment is known by the adoption of the proposed legislation. The mayor of the village of Sackett's Harbor is for the village of Sackett's Harbor is authorized to execute the long environmental assessment form to the effect that the village board is issuing a negative declaration under seeker. A complete copy of the EAF, including its negative declaration, shall be maintained in the village clerk's office in a file that will be readily accessible to the public. All subsequent notices regarding the undertaking of the project as set forth in this resolution shall state that a negative declaration has been issued. This resolution shall take effect immediately. I will make a motion to approve the seeker negative declaration.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, sorry, thank you.
Aye.
Trustee Johnson.
Aye.
Mayor Wonderful.
Aye.
Deputy Mayor.
Aye.
And Trustee Benz.
Aye.
Okay, so now we have the negative declaration passed. We can now pass the resolution 5 enacting the local law. You guys have seen it. It is the same as the one we passed last time, but all the changes have been integrated. And I will make a motion to pass firework resolution number 5 of 2026.
I'll second.
Also.
Aye.
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 Oh, and so next up, we have the July 4th application from Hope, the Spoker Ride application and
Can-Am.
Can-Am.
Can we just make a motion
We
to pass
can.
them up?
The Spoker Ride and Can-Am have no major changes except Can-Am is doing some stuff on Friday. Did they put closing the same section that Hope wants for that concert as well? I think they did.
Yeah.
On Friday night. Okay.
Oh, is it Friday night and Saturday?
Yeah, they have an extra band on Friday night.
Okay.
Exciting.
Yeah, you come.
Ooh,
Great.
exciting.
Cool. Then we have, I didn't see any changes to the Spoker Run. And then I think I'm good with everything on Hopes as well, except we'll circle back on the closure. Honestly, Hope, I don't think we're gonna say no, but I do think we might pick at you about the specific hours a little bit. But we can approve the event as it is without.
Andrews and.
But they always do that, correct?
Well, never his dad's finished.
Oh, okay. Well, it's nice.
Well, it's good that they're asking. Okay.
Okay, and that is, let's just make a note to make sure that Lynn and John are tracking that.
They signed off on it, so I'm
Yeah. Oh,
assuming they got.
Cool. Any comments, questions on the events, guys?
I'll make a motion to approve all of them with further conversation about the specific time for the 4th of July.
Cool.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. Peg, anything you need from us? Any last minute thoughts?
No,
Comments?
I'll make a motion to close the meeting. I'll second.
All in
Sorry.
favor?
I knew that's what you were going for. I'm just gonna jump ahead.
Aye.
Aye. You want to help?